Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Legionnaires of all ages, welcome to the Wrestling Legion Weekly Podcast. I'm Nick the Geek, and as always, I'm joined by my two best friends, my two buddies, my two compatriots. We are joined by Simon. Simon, how the hell are you?
Really good, mate. It's good to be back.
And we are joined by the Redeemer himself, Andy. All healthy, all happy. How are we?
Hi, Nick.
Every week. Every single week. One of these weeks, he'll actually respond. Anyway, right, gents, straight into the show. Okay, Andy, I have specifically picked a topic for you this week because recent news, Dominic Dijak will be leaving WWE tomorrow when his contract expires.
Yes.
According to Dijak, WWE TKO made 0 attempts to negotiate him when they knew his contract was coming up, so he's decided not to resign because he feels like they have slighted him because they didn't even reach out, even though he reached out multiple times to try and get a new negotiation on the go. So what I want to ask you, Andy, is TKO's recent habit of letting contracts expire, Becky Lynch, Drew McIntyre, Chad Gable, now Dominic Dijak, as opposed to WWE's old method of several months before they released somebody or the contract was coming up, they'd renegotiate a new deal. Do you think that this is a smarter way of doing business for TKO, or do you think this is just how they do things in UFC?
I feel like it's a bit of both. So, for the likes of your established stars like Becky Lynch and stuff, I don't believe it is. And I don't believe that they meant that to happen because the guy who looked after the contracts got sacked, didn't he?
This is true.
Yeah. So I don't think that was meant to happen.
Nope. Right. Well, man down. Technical difficulties. He did.
That one.
Yeah, he did certainly. Right. Si, same question. Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, wait. He's back.
Is he?
What happened there?
Sorry about that, guys. We had a technical issue. Well, yeah, so what I was saying is for the likes of your Becky Lynch's and stuff like that and your established stars, shall we say, I don't believe that's a good move. But when you're looking at the likes of a Dijak or somebody like that, I believe it is a good move because, you know, he's in NXT, which means he's in development. You know, you'd probably wait and I suggest he's not on a lot of money. So, therefore, you'd wait and see how he progressed. And if you don't think he's progressed or he's asking for a certain type of money or whatever it may be, then, you know, you just let his contract go.
Okay. Yeah, well, Si, what do you think? Because I'm not sure. I agree with you that as far as the established guys go, it's a bad idea. I think you should be trying to keep them as much as possible. Your Becky Lynch, your Seth Rollins, your Drew McIntyre, your Roman Reigns, your Cody Rhodes, so on and so forth. But Si, what do you think about letting the less established guys' contracts roll out?
I know this is we're talking about this as if it's 100% fact. I've just got to throw in that I'm skeptical, right? And it's really important.
He's so done that deliberately. He's done that deliberately. There's no way his computer's just got out. Right. Simon is a practical joker. I'll have you know. You know this, Andy. Yeah, I'm taking this as a gag.
Yeah.
But we must continue the show.
Yeah, so just to give a little bit more context around that, while waiting for Mr. Monk to return.
I'm so sorry. So sorry. Yeah, can I carry on, or had you moved on?
No, go on.
Carry on.
It's karma, isn't it? I was sat here saying how unprofessional you were for getting cut off and coming back.
We thought that you were. We thought you were there planking us.
Yeah, honestly, I thought you'd done that deliberately.
Screen just died. I don't know what happened. Yeah, no, I feel it's important to say that when it comes to these announcements, I think sometimes they can be storyline based. Wouldn't surprise me at all with people recently whose contracts have gone, like Chad Gable, one example. It's to get the internet fans behind them and work them around a little bit. I wouldn't put it past them, but how do we actually know the truth without talking to Chad or Triple H?
Obviously.
But I suppose it prevents contract tampering, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is true.
But I'm with Andy. Like, the big names, I think they need to be locked down and sealed down. But for wrestling fans, it creates a bit more excitement, a bit more surprise.
Yeah, and just
landlord,
that,
gents, give me a sec.
He has gone onto his Twitter site before and said he's going to be live at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch to discuss what's going on. So,
okay.
What
personally,
that
Dijak,
means.
I watched him way back in Progress, WCPW.
Yeah.
I've watched the guy 5-6 years back in the Indies when he was in PWG everywhere, and it would have been great to see him get a run on the main roster. Just to bring him in, let him work a 10-minute match against Dragunov, and it'd have been over straight away. And it's a shame if we're not going to get to see that, because the guy's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, that's it. Well, this is what he said, just to give you a thing on here, just so you can think. So he said, "Here's the truth. WWE never negotiated with me. We attempted to negotiate and they stonewalled us. They never made a single offer and they informed me they would not renew my contract at the 11th hour. 2 months ago, I was made one of the best matches in NXT history and a top match of WrestleMania weekend. On that day, and a top executive of WWE told me I was crushing it and slated a feud for the NXT title, but I got called up to Raw instead. I consistently outperformed everyone's expectations. I consistently especially through 2023 and early 2024. I never complained about anything or how difficult I was to work with. I tirelessly pitched ideas to anyone who would listen. As recently as the day before I was notified, I never once missed a booking and I was injured one time in 7 years for 3 months. I'm thankful for disappointed but also excited. This has lit a fire under me to relentlessly prove myself to the world. All I wanted was a fair shot and now I have that opportunity. That's enough talk for now. It's time to do or die, Jack. And it's just saying bookings will be...
Good point.
My last day under contract is 28th of June. Basically what he says.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. And he goes on to say that he'll be on Twitch later to give a bit more context. But, I mean, I never want to see anyone lose the jobs. Never want to see anybody lose the job. It's not a nice thing. It's not nice to see anybody losing the what they do to make a living, etc. But on the flip side of it, it's kind of like, well, okay, yeah, it's really sad and it's not nice. But, the amount of time he's been there, he said he doesn't get a fair crack of the whip. Well, he's had the same kind of chances that a lot of people have had. I mean, R-Truth always comes to mind with me because it's like, well, did he get a fair crack of the whip? He was an NWA champion before he comes to WWE, and he's pivoted and done what he can to keep himself relevant and keep himself in there. So for me, it's kind of, well, okay, you might not get what you want to get out of it, but, was there something else you could have done? Because for me personally, it's, in wrestling as a whole, I believe there's too many people that shoot for the top and forget there's a middle ground. And what I mean by that is, not everyone can be the top guy, not everyone can be WWE champion. And for me personally, if that was me there, and I realised that I was never going to be that top guy, I'd look and go, okay, well, I'm going to be the reliable guy, but I'm also going to be the guy that you can put in the mid-cards where fans are going to love me.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree. The thing is, I've always seen Dijak as a basic upper middle card guy anyway. Si, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he is, and he's great at that role. But you've got to look at both sides of it. Yes, not everyone can be the main event. But I think in this business, if you want to make it anywhere, you've got to believe that you deserve to be in the main event. And I think, unfortunately, that creates a lot of egos and disappointment. It's not like a regular job where you can use it at any point or, stay for life. It's a set term contract. And I feel for the guy because I don't think he should have had his contract expire because he's great. But then again, neither is he in the top 10 in the company, in my opinion. And you can't keep everybody and keep signing new stars, because that's what the guy on the other side does, and we know how that works out. So yeah, if he's a little bit bitter, a little bit disappointed because he had a really high expectations, it's understandable and it's a shame. People are going to give him great feedback because he was great, and it's a way of motivating people internally as well. And if that's happened right before his contract hasn't been renewed, gutted for him, but he might be better off. He might be happier for a while. Can either of you guys honestly say you've seen Dijak as a future world champion on Raw or SmackDown?
No.
Same. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If he goes to TNA, for example, I think he'll do phenomenally and could very well be their world champion in TNA. TNA is that level of the company to me at the moment. It has been for years. But, I mean, even if he goes to where you say Tony Khan just adds him to his box of toys, there's so many people there that he will get mid-carded anyway, and he's just going to get lost in the shuffle. He's a great worker, but other than the obvious Keith Lee feud in AEW, which we'd all love to see again, because him and Keith bring the best out of each other, there are several matches I'd like to see Dijak have in AEW, but unfortunately, I don't think his character work has ever been strong enough until this recent run in NXT to really elevate him to the top.
I've loved watching him perform live. I don't think I've seen him have a bad match. But guys like Keith Lee, Miro, Roosh, who've struggled to get TV time at their level, and I think maybe he's just a notch below. And like you say, it's TNA would be perfect for him.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, that was interesting. Thank you very much, lads. That was just a bit of curiosity that I had rolling around in my head today. On to Raw. It was fantastic this week. Really good show. Solid from top to bottom. But what I really want to talk about is the very powerful and emotionally done Bo Dallas interview. Has everybody seen it?
Yeah,
right. I would like both of your honest opinions on this, because I'm curious and I think it's going to be quite divisive among the fan base. So I don't know which one of you would like to start, but please just give me your honest opinion on what you thought of the Bo Dallas Uncle Howdy interview.
Go, Mr. Monk. I want to hear Mr. Monk's.
I'm not going to have a popular opinion, and I'm going to preface this by saying that in no means do I intend to disrespect anybody or hurt anybody's feelings. But I'm not a fan of spooky bollocks in wrestling. I've never been a fan of The Fiend. Never liked him. Never enjoyed the character. Never wanted to see it on the screen. Quite often skipped it. Undertaker for me was the one exception, or maybe Sting back in the day. But nowadays, whatever show it's on, I just lose interest, because there's only ever a certain path to book like a supernatural character before you get booked into a corner. It happens every time. You can't book them. They don't fit the booking formula properly. And Fiend was no exception. Nothing but love for Bray Wyatt. Fantastic guy. I just didn't like the Fiend persona. More so, do I not like the fact that it's being carried on. It's reminding us of that hurt. It's making us sad. It's there for the sake of it. If Bo needed a job, if they wanted to give Bo a job because of the legacy and everything, great. But it didn't have to be this character. It's just, to me, it's like Paul Walker in the Fast and Furious films when they brought him back by CGI. There's just no need. It's not something I want to see on the screens. I've been skipping all the barcodes and all that. Not a fan. If they wanted to give all those guys jobs and roles, they could have done something completely different. That's my take.
Yeah. The King's in the house. What's happening, Jim?
Hello, Jimmy. Sorry, I wasn't on the chat page. There we go. I rarely give WWE shit for these kinds of things, but to not give Dijak a chance is pretty stupid. Yeah. Fair opinion. And then he says, it's interesting, but I'd rather see it on a Netflix show or movie because I just don't see how it translates to the ring stuff at the moment. See, this I agree with.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll say on it is I really enjoyed that the vignette. I thought it was really good, very well done, and I like the way it's kind
It was
of
exceptionally well done.
and I like the way that if we're looking at it just for that, I like the way that they done the whole Bo talking to Uncle Howdy stuff. I thought it was really well done, but I think you hit the nail on the head, saying I think Jimmy hit it on the head is how does it translate into the ring? Where's its place in wrestling? And for me, I'm happy to kind of sit back and see how it goes, because I thought Bray Wyatt Fiend was a lot better than was brilliantly done. In terms of, I like the way that he went from the character of Bray Wyatt in the Funhouse into the Fiend character. I like that. I felt like towards the end they started going a bit too far with it. I felt like they should have kept with the formula of what they had, where it was kind of. And the one thing I didn't like is I really felt like they should have done it along the lines where Bray Wyatt defended the title, etc., or wrestled up until a point where he needed to call the Fiend in. That's what I would have liked more than the whole just having him wrestle every match. You know what I mean? And that was kind of my one gripe with it.
Okay. Well, I do agree with you, Andy, that it was brilliantly done. I said to you before we went on, I'm a big cinematography nerd, and the way that they shot it, where Bo and Howdy slowly got closer and closer and closer throughout the interview until they became the same character, was very well done. It was good symbolism. But I very much agree with Jimmy. Bray was a good worker. Always was. Great telling stories in the ring. Bray Wyatt was a better character than The Fiend. The Fiend was a kid's art room project that got out of hand. And in my opinion, ruined Alexa Bliss. For me, personally, I think it destroyed Alexa Bliss's chances on the main roster because she became a gimmick act, a sideshow. And that's never a good thing for any wrestler. I do completely agree with Jimmy with what he said there I never thought Bo Dallas was the best wrestler. I watched him all the way through NXT with his NXT title run and everything else. I think he's a great character worker because he truly dives in to everything that he's ever given. And I respect the hell out of him for wanting to carry on Bray's legacy. But I also can't see how this translates in ring. Like, are they going to wear the masks when they get in the ring? Or are they just going to wear them on their entrance and then take them off? Because... Yeah.
But this is, to be honest, that's one thing that it intrigues me. And I'm not saying, I dislike this because of the fact that I don't know how it goes into the ring. I'm intrigued to see what they do. It could be totally wrong and go, do you know what? This really translates well.
Okay, Jim. Well, maybe I should give him another chance then. I always just thought that, honestly, Bray was better at telling stories than Bo. And I like stories to be told in the ring as a wrestler, as a wrestling fan. But anyway, other than that, what else do I want to talk about from Raw? Let's talk about your favorite wrestler, Simon. Let's talk about the most interesting angle on WWE Raw right now. Let's talk about Dominic Mysterio.
It's been must watch, hasn't it? It's been the best part of every Raw for weeks now. From the subtle signs, the little things that Liv was carrying coming out of his locker room, things like that. That was so subtle that certain viewers we've got picked up on it years ago, and I never thought it would happen. But now it's come to fruition. Jim, can you write more storylines like this? Because it's the best thing on the weekly show.
Just this week, the bit that cracked me up the most was when Damien came in and they're playing on 2K24 and Dom's going to phone out. He's like, She also sent me these. It's Carlito's little every single time. That's cool.
Did you
Makes me
see
crack
some of the
up.
guys? Did you see some of the guys putting on Twitter and stuff this morning? Did you see what match was on in the background on the WWE 2K?
Was it Finn versus Priest by any chance?
No, Rhea Ripley versus Jeff Hardy.
Okay.
Bizarre.
Bizarre.
Yeah, but this
Yeah,
is
that was it.
this is doing the world a good for Dom.
Yeah, I like
Thank
it,
you,
and I like
Cheap
the way.
Plug, for the rest of your thoughts. We'll be back very soon.
I also like what to call it as well. I also like chicken nuggets like Dom does.
That was a big plate of chicken tenders. Like, that was a lot of chicken. That's a lot of protein, but they're big guys, so they need a little protein. But yeah, I thought the whole angle is brilliant. It's not very PG, but WWE, I think Raw's going to start moving away from the PG thing now. That
Well,
they're going
that's what we should really talk about, because on did anyone catch Triple H's interview with oh God, what's his name now? Pat McAfee the other day.
I did not.
So he had an interview with Pat McAfee the other day, and one of the things he said is when they go to Netflix, they will be moving away from PG because they don't have to. They can have a more risque risque program because of the fact that they're on Netflix.
And how do you guys feel about this?
I'm fine with it as long as we don't end up back in 1997.
Don't need an Attitude Era, gratuitous violence, profanity, all the sexy stuff. We don't need that back for the sake of it.
No,
I
I
think-
think.
Go on, Andy.
Do you know what, mate? A wise man once said, "Make it all make sense." I don't know who that was, but I heard it somewhere. And I feel like sometimes in WWE, because of the restrictions with not being able to do certain things, or the risque stuff, or the violence and the blood, it doesn't make sense in one sense, like a Hell in a Cell to me, and some of the street fights and stuff. You gotta believe it doesn't happen on the thingy. On them. Especially in a big feud or whatever else you may be. But I hope they use their newfound freedom come January to do it in the right way, and not the AEW way. In my opinion, is like use the as I say there, we don't need to see another 1997. We don't need to see it just being risque and stupid for the sake of it. But if the story dictates and it warrants it, then use
Exactly.
it.
Well, that's the thing. And this story with Dom and Liv, Jim's story, as I'll dub it from this day forward, it works. It blatantly works. They're not being too ridiculous with it. They're not going over the top. They're just implying. And it's brilliant. Question. Do you think Finn knows? And is on
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so do you think that Finn is the one that really is scheming in the background with Liv, and they're just using Dom?
Yes. I think the whole point of the storyline with the Judgment Day has been leading to the exodus of Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest via means necessary. Carlito's there now to make up the numbers when they lose Priest. Liv will be replacing Rhea. Dom will become daddy as opposed to her being mommy. And Finn will become the new kingpin of Judgment Day. And it will be a very Bullet Club-esque way of looking at Finn Balor. I'm talking when he started the Bullet Club in New Japan, he was a very violent man who did violent things for reasons. And I think that's where it's heading. Because little subtle things in the story that they keep doing, like he had Liv's room card in his pocket after it disappeared. The way he keeps looking at Damien's championship when Damien's not looking. Subtly, but you keep catching him staring at the belt when Damien's talking. Then as soon as Damien looks at him, he's like, oh. it's little things that are leading it in that direction. Now, it all could be misdirection, but I don't think it is. It's the one thing about a professional wrestling story is it has to be engrossing and entertaining, and this is both. It's being brilliantly told, it's being brilliantly played out, and it's been brilliantly written. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think Dominic Mysterio is going to become one of the biggest stars in the company on the back of it. I really do. He's got buckets of potential, has always had buckets of potential. And now it's finally starting to look like Triple H is going to go, all right, you've been here long enough. Now we're going to give you something easy to get your teeth into and see how you can go.
I've been saying this for like years. Dom is the future. You know, he's like a 19-year pro, and he's still only in his 20s. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. The one thing I've missed out of all this angle, and I can't decide whether Finn's behind it or not. You know, there's a lot of fun ways it could go. But they've missed such an obvious pun of at some point having Finn walk past Liv, look at Dom and be like, whose horse is that? It's just there. Why haven't we done this? Let's do it.
Let's go. I think Finn and Liv are just using each other to get what they want. Okay.
But what does Liv want though, Jim? Is it Judgment Day? Is it the revenge on Rhea, or is it both?
Liv is just poking Rhea. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. She's poking the bear.
I concur, Simon. I concur.
Okay, gents, but we've reached that part of the show where I get lazy and stop thinking of things, and I simply ask you both, what do you want to talk about?
Okay, I'll go first. So this week, it was announced Royal Rumble is going to be in Indianapolis, but they also signed a deal for a future SummerSlam and WrestleMania.
Correct.
They didn't say it's not going to be next year or this year. They really stated it. But do you think we're going to see more deals like this? And do any of you see the big four? One of the big four coming out of the US?
Yes. Simon, you want to go first?
Nope. I don't think the big four next 2, 3, 4, 5 years are going to be abroad. It's too lucrative for them to have their big events at the time zone of their biggest audience.
I tend to think that we're going to get WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia possibly next year.
The reason I think this is because next year's in
Vegas. Well, you know what I mean. 2026. But I strongly believe that we will be getting. What's that look, Simon?
I haven't been to Vegas for a while. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to think that due to the fact that they announced there is a 2-day SummerSlam now coming up, that the reason they're doing a 2-day SummerSlam in America is because that same year they're going to lose WrestleMania in the States. And it is a way to keep the audience at home happy by having a massive super show that's a 2-day event still in the middle of the summer that is specifically in America for them to go to and for everyone else to travel to, while at the same time making an excessively lucrative and profitable deal with Saudi Arabia to have WrestleMania put on there.
I mean, one thing that I will ask you both as well is with the Netflix deal. So Netflix in the US is only going to have Raw for now. It hasn't got SmackDown, has it? Netflix outside of the US has everything.
Yes.
So do you think Netflix will have an influence on them to put a show in a different country for them? Like a big one of the big ones. So will they have any kind of say in that?
I don't think it matters for Netflix at all.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Netflix is in every single country in the world, so it's not like it's the biggest way
Yeah,
to watch.
but it's the only country, every other country in the world apart from America, they will have the big events. So would they not want one of their countries that are on their thing to do it? Now, Triple H did say that he is working with his partners and they want to make Netflix happy. And, you know, how much exposure they gives them to the rest of the world. So that's where, obviously, my questions come from.
No, I get that.
Um,
But I don't know. I can't see TKO letting Netflix have influence over the TV product.
no. No. Although, I kind of get where you're coming from, because I think BT Sports had influence in bringing WWE to Scotland a couple of times. But yeah, no, I don't think it works the same. No.
But we will see.
Interesting.
But that's
And also, can I
the
just
thing.
say the fact that they put WrestleMania in Vegas this year instead of 40 is shocking.
It is in Vegas.
Should have. I'd love to go. Do you know what? I'd love to go to Vegas just to go to the gold and silver pawn shop while I was there. Porn stars, but the clean version.
Yeah.
Oh,
no, I've
didn't you
not
go?
been to Vegas.
Didn't you see the set for WrestleMania 9?
Yeah, so the story is, I went to Vegas. It was my last ever holiday with mum and dad. You know, like as a kid kind of holiday. I think I was about 15. And we went to Vegas and we were there literally 6-7 days after WrestleMania 9. So we, you know, I walked around all the car park at Caesar's Palace where the outdoor arena was. And they were still selling Hulk Hogan foam fingers in the little mall in there. Yeah, missed it by like that much. You know? Yeah. I've been back since. It'd be good to go back.
Good story. Yeah. Never been to Vegas.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't because, you know, I was too young to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't really appreciate Las Vegas as a child the same way you can as an adult.
I spent a couple of nights in the hotel room while they were out gambling, and I was just like reading Timothy Zahn books. Just
Nice.
wanted to get
the
home
Empire.
and do
Do you know the crazy thing? No, I've always said I'd love to experience it, and the mad thing about it is it's not even for the gambling. I don't know why.
No.
You'd think it'd be for the gambling, wouldn't you? But
Yeah. Yeah. Like Amsterdam, innit? There's a lot more there than the two things that everyone goes for.
yeah.
Give me Vegas.
Like, I'd love to have a Las Vegas buffet. I've heard like big things
Yes.
about these buffets.
I'm obsessed with food when I go anywhere, and I've always wanted to like go into one of them. Like you pay $100 for 3 hours, just eat whatever the hell you like.
I bet there's a load of great cooking shops.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
Right,
the Grand Canyon is in Vegas.
No, it isn't.
For you.
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah, it's one thing I do remember this. Grand Canyon is Arizona, which is the state across. And I think it was like a 3-hour helicopter ride each way. So to book it, I'm going back 30 years, it was like $200 each to go and take this like day trip in a helicopter to see the Grand Canyon. Yeah, it's a long way away.
No. I didn't know that. Right, but Si,
Anyway,
what do you want to talk about?
Being as this week I've had a very busy week and I've only watched Raw, I've not got a lot else to talk about. I mean, I can sit here and I can talk about how much I want Dominic Mysterio to win Money in the Bank. How the heat on that briefcase would be absolutely out of the world for Daddy Dom. But yeah,
I tend to agree with you there. Unfortunately, let's talk about Money in the Bank. So far,
no, hold on. I said I wanted to talk about Dom.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dom and Money in the Bank.
Yeah, but you asked
specifically the Money in the Bank match that I'm assuming Dominic Mysterio is going to be in.
I thought this was an equal society, Nick.
You asked me what I wanted to talk about, Nick, and I told you what I wanted to talk about. And now you're talking about something completely different.
See, this is what happens, Si, when we're meant to be a democracy and Emperor Nick up there just tries to take over.
Why do the rules change? Make it make sense, man.
These are the people that I have to work with. It's ridiculous.
You're flipping this.
You just make it as you're going along.
Fine, talk about Money in the Bank. See if I can.
We should really start calling him Vince the Geek.
That is unnecessary. And I was going to talk about Dominic Mysterio via the medium of Money in the Bank and Dominic Mysterio being in the Money in the Bank match.
Ooh, okay, via the medium. Someone's been reading the doc. Huh? Ooh, somebody's been learning big words.
Don't start denying at me just because I'm quite
Don't besmirch the host.
That's ridiculous behaviour. Good use of the word besmirch. So it looks, unfortunately, like Jey Uso is kind of the favourite to win.
Who?
Because Jey Uso.
Oh.
The poster has him holding a... no, Jesus Christ, no, Jey Uso.
We've gone back 15 years.
Jay is the post, literally on the poster holding the briefcase, and it has Yeet written across it. So I think he's probably the favourite. However, I know. However, I tend to agree with Sai that if they put that briefcase in Dom's hands, as the storyline comes to fruition with the Judgment Day Priest and Rhea, or at least as it moves on to its next chapter and the briefcase gets introduced, the amount of heat that Dominic could produce is insane. Yeah. The kid's already white hot, right, as far as the crowd are concerned.
And look back at history, right? The predominant amount of Royal Rumble winners have been faces. All of the best Money in the Bank holders have been heels. It just works better.
Can I just give you a thing as well? Last year, LA Knight was favourite. He was red hot going into it.
True. But I agree with Sai. All the best winners have always been heels. The Money in the Bank concept works a lot better for a bad guy than it does a good guy, because you're literally waiting for somebody to be down and out and taking advantage of the situation. I think the only one that really worked as a good guy was Rob Van Dam, when he called out John Cena and named a time, named a place, and it was obviously the big ECW event and blah, 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 blah. So that was kind of a perfect storm of ingredients that made it work. But I tend to agree that the good guy with the briefcase a lot of the time can fall quite flat.
Yeah.
Right. But say Dom does win. How long do you think he holds on to the case within the year? Do you think he waits till Priest loses the title to somebody else? Do you think he waits for Priest to be down and out traditionally? Do you think, what do you
let me pitch something. Sorry, Andy, while it's fresh in my head. Let me pitch this. So, you get to a point in the storyline where Dom is in the middle of Liv and Rhea. Okay? And Rhea's not believing that Dom's just been strung along and that he's been used and abused and he's the innocent victim. She doesn't believe it. Liv is playing Dom for her own means, right? And Dom has to make Rhea believe that he was a pawn in all this.
Mm-hmm.
So does he sacrifice the case and give it back to Mommy so she can cash in on Liv?
Ooh. I like that.
The men's briefcase, the concept isn't as good as it used to be, and it's been wasted for a few years in a row now. I wouldn't hate that, using it that way.
I wouldn't.
That'd be quite good. I mean, the one thing I don't want to happen is LA Knight said on SmackDown that if he wins, he's going to cash in on Logan Paul. And
that's not mid-card.
No, right. Yeah. Don't mid-card the Money in the Bank contract.
Again.
Again, someone did it for the IC, didn't they?
In theory, yeah.
Just
yeah.
Oh, that's a bad idea. All right, ladies and gents. But, gentlemen, do we have anything to shill?
Jericho. So, I caught up on Dynamite today. Oh, no, skip through as I do. And Jericho was awesome.
Isn't it?
With hey, my little branches. I absolutely loved it.
Hey, guys.
Thought it was class, yeah.
It's everything he's doing. It's everything he's doing. The pitch of his voice when he talks, his mannerisms, dropping lines like that doesn't work for me, brother.
But I'm not going to lie. I am now a fully fledged branch.
There we go. You see, I am. At first, I wasn't sure, but now I am quite happily hanging from the learning tree with all gusto and muster. Si, what have you thought of Jericho's work of late?
It doesn't even surprise me. He reinvents himself constantly. He has done for nearly 30 years. I've often said it's a dated reference now, but he's like the Madonna of the wrestling business. Kind of like somebody like Sting, who, when he feels he's getting a little bit stale, he'll change his look, he'll change his character, and he'll come back just as good, or if not even better, and just as fresh. And he's done it countless times. It's like he's the Doctor Who of wrestling. He just regenerates and comes back. It's a fantastic gimmick. It works well with the fact that, he maybe has put a few pounds on and things. He is looking a little bit older. And that just improves the gimmick. The fact that he's using things that the AEW fans hate as a gimmick is fantastic.
Well, the irony is, Jimmy and I were talking about this the other week on our show, Boom or Bust, live tonight at 1 a.m. at UK time. He's taken everything AEW hates about what WWE do and turned it up to 11. So he's got crap entrance music that starts with the learning tree, which is very similar to the way that some of the NXT tunes start and some of the really bad Raw tunes start. He's using what's the word I'm looking for? Insider terms. He's using insider terms. He's using what fans don't like. As you say, and on top of that, he's taken all the venom and vitriol that's been spat at him online, and he's made it his whole core to his character. That's genius. Jimmy said the other week, and I tend to agree, it reminds him a lot of WCW Jericho. Just the way that he could take anything he said that week and make an entire segment around it, and people would be like, okay, this is great.
Hold number 5, right hand punch. Hold number 6, left hand punch. Yeah.
Armbar.
Can I make and then he came back from the break 10 minutes later and he's still there going, oh, that was beautiful. Can I make a big distinction here, though?
Of course you can.
There are similarities between what Jericho is doing and what the Young Bucks are doing. Okay? In that they're both channeling what the fan base hates, or what the hardcore fan base, we assume they all hate. However, whereas Jericho is doing it in a cool way, the Young Bucks are doing it in a sophomoric way. Jericho is keeping everything that's good about him in the process, but the Young Bucks are giving away everything that's good about them in the process. That's how I see it. It's like,
no, I agree with that, but the thing is that you have to give them both props. Is Matt and Nick Jackson are wonderful at playing dickheads. Like, they make better gobshites than they do baby faces. They always have done.
But to strip away everything that is good about them, from their look to their moves, just for some silly humor, isn't great. Whereas Jericho's maintained.
No, but to be fair, they haven't changed the way they wrestle at all. They've changed the name of the BTE trigger to the EVP trigger.
Yeah, but they know.
Their new ring gear is stupid.
They know that no one's going to take them seriously wrestling in tuxedos, waistcoats, whatever. They know. And
but I can't believe I'm going to try and defend the Young Bucks, but I think it's intentional. Because
of course it's intentional.
This is the reaction. But I think this is the reaction they're trying to get.
What, to tune viewers out?
No, to get people to lose faith in them.
To me, there's a reinvention with Jericho that keeps him interesting, and then there's a reinvention with the Young Bucks that destroys everything that was good about him.
Okay. That's a fair point. Right, but gents, we have reached that time of the day. Right, so, You can catch me tonight on Drip King Wrestling channel at 1 a.m. UK time for our AEW predictions episode of Boom or Bust for Forbidden Door. Look forward to seeing you then. You can catch me a week on Sunday here again doing Take Over the Table with our good friends Cap and Matty. We'll be watching, what's the next takeover? San Diego. No, Texas. We'll be doing Takeover Texas, which should be good fun. You can catch myself and the two boys here every single Thursday at roughly the same time. Sorry, we were a bit late this week. That's on me. Doing our weekly podcast where we just do what we did today. So if you enjoy what we did here today, please subscribe to the channel and join the Legion. It's a big help. It really helps us out. And it's the only way the YouTube algorithm knows we exist. And always remember, we are but three geeks obsessed with a good show. And our opinion means nothing without yours in the comments below. Sign.
Wrestling Legion, where we make it make sense.
Catch you next week.